Welcome back, Guardians of Dominion. Zeus here. A brand new hero has just been revealed, and if these abilities work the way they look on paper, Byrna might completely change how defensive teams work in hero wars. Today we're breaking down her skills, the hidden mechanics behind them, and why this hero could become one of the most impactful additions to the game. Let's take a closer look at what Byrna is really bringing to the battlefield. Game officials just shared the first official information about a brand new hero. We still don't know the exact release date yet, but based on how Hero Wars usually handles new heroes, this announcement tells us a lot about what's coming next. Most likely, sometime this week we will see the pre-order appear in the game, and then about 1 week later the full hero event will begin. The new hero is Byrna. Some of you might already recognize that name, because Byrna already exists in the Hero Wars Alliance mobile version of the game. Now she is finally coming to Dominion era, and from the first look at her abilities, this hero is extremely interesting. Let's start by looking at Byrna's artifacts, because artifacts always give us the first clues about how a hero is supposed to function. Byrna's third artifact is a Ring of Strength. That tells us immediately that strength is her main stat. When a hero has strength as their main stat, we usually expect them to have strong survivability, higher health and better durability on the battlefield. Now look at the first artifact. It gives magic penetration. This already tells us something important. Even though Byrna's main stat is strength, the hero is clearly designed to support or interact with magic teams. The second artifact confirms this idea even more. The Manuscript of the Void gives both magic attack and magic penetration. When you see these two stats together, it strongly suggests that Byrna's abilities scale with magic attack. So even though she is technically a strength hero, the mechanics of her kit are very closely connected to magic damage. At the same time, having the Ring of Strength as her stat artifact means we can expect Byrna to have solid survivability. She should be able to stay alive on the battlefield long enough for her abilities to fully develop. Now let's move to Byrna's skills, because this is where things become really interesting. Her first skill is called Roar of Nature. When this ability activates, the Guardian Spirit deals damage to all enemies and restores health to allies. But the key part of the skill is the second line. All healing from this ability is converted into a maximum health increase until the end of the battle. This is extremely important. The healing is not just restoring lost health. Instead, every time Byrna uses her ultimate ability, the maximum health of your entire team increases. In other words, your team's health pool becomes larger and larger as the battle continues. This creates a completely new defensive mechanic in the game. Normally, healing simply restores lost health. But here, the healing permanently expands the hero's health limit for the rest of the fight. That means every ultimate Byrna casts makes your team harder to kill. Because of this single skill alone, I believe Byrna has the potential to become a very impactful hero. This is not a small utility effect. This is something that can fundamentally change how defensive teams work in hero wars. We've seen heroes like Fluffy, Augustus, and Lyria introduce mechanics that reshape the meta. Byrna has the same potential, especially when it comes to defense. Once players begin building teams around this mechanic, the way we approach defensive formations may change completely. Now let's move to the second skill, Guardian Spirit. This ability summons a Guardian Spirit that binds to the frontmost hero with the tank role. If there is no tank in the team, the spirit simply attaches to a random ally. The protected ally receives only 50% of the incoming damage. The remaining damage is redirected to the spirit. So Byrna is not fighting alone. She brings an additional entity onto the battlefield, a spirit that actively protects your team. Half of the damage goes to the protected hero, and the other half is absorbed by the spirit. This creates a very strong protective mechanic, especially for frontline heroes. I'm personally very curious to see how this will interact with Fluffy. When these mechanics combine, the defensive potential could become extremely strong. Another interesting part of this skill is that the spirit has a fixed amount of health. We don't yet know the exact formula, but typically in hero wars when something has fixed health, it still scales with a hero's stats. My expectation is that the spirit's health will scale either with Byrna's magic attack or her maximum health. Most likely it will be connected to magic attack, especially considering how her artifacts are designed. There is another important detail as well. While the spirit is alive, Byrna's attacks do not deal direct damage. Instead, her attacks command the spirit to attack. So the spirit is not just a defensive mechanic. It also becomes the main source of Byrna's offensive pressure. Now let's move to the third skill, Bear Cuddle. This ability applies a healing effect to the frontmost ally that restores health over time. But the really interesting part comes after that. While the effect is active, any healing received by that ally spreads outward, restoring a portion of that healing to other allies. This is a very unique mechanic. The skill starts by focusing on one hero, usually your frontline. But once that hero begins receiving healing, the healing spreads across the entire team. And the most important thing here is that the healing does not have to come from Byrna. If the healing comes from another hero, it still spreads. For example, imagine using a hero like Galahad, who heals himself when he attacks. Every time Galahad heals himself through vampirism, a portion of that healing would spread to the rest of the team. That means Byrna can turn many small healing sources into team-wide sustain. This ability could create very strong synergy with heroes that constantly generate healing during battle. And finally we have Byrna's fourth skill, Living Heart. This skill might actually be the most important one in her entire kit. Every time an ally restores health, Byrna's magic attack increases until the end of the battle. We don't have the exact numbers yet, but the concept is already clear. The more healing happens in the battle, the stronger Byrna becomes. And because many of her abilities scale with magic attack, every increase in magic attack will amplify the rest of her kit. The healing from Roar of Nature becomes stronger. The spirit's attacks become stronger. And the overall impact of her abilities continues to grow as the battle goes on. This means Byrna is a scaling hero. The longer the battle lasts, the stronger she becomes. After the first minute of combat, Byrna could be significantly stronger than she was at the beginning of the fight. This creates a very important strategic consequence. Against Byrna teams, long battles may become extremely dangerous. The longer the fight continues, the more magic attack Byrna accumulates, and the more powerful her entire kit becomes. So the natural counterplay will likely be fast, aggressive teams that try to end the battle quickly before Byrna's scaling becomes overwhelming. We still don't have the final numbers yet, so it's too early to draw definitive conclusions. But based on the mechanics alone, Byrna looks like a hero with enormous potential. If Living Heart scales strongly, then every other ability in her kit becomes more powerful over time. The spirit will deal more damage. Her healing effects will grow stronger. And the defensive potential of the team will continue increasing. Because of that, Living Heart might actually be the most powerful skill in her entire kit. And if these mechanics work the way they appear to work, Byrna could become one of the most impactful heroes we have seen in hero wars in a very long time. So overall, Byrna looks like a very unique and potentially powerful hero. Her abilities increase team survivability, spread healing across allies, and most importantly, allow her power to grow throughout the battle. The longer the fight lasts, the stronger Byrna becomes, and that alone could change how many defensive teams are built in Hero Wars. Now I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think Byrna will become a top defensive hero, or will players find ways to counter her scaling power? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next Hero Wars guide. Thank you for watching, and as always, salute and friendship.